Hello, everyone. Welcome to the News Browse News broadcast. CTV News reports that federal prosecutors are currently reviewing approximately 30 ongoing criminal cases that may be negatively impacted by Project South, a significant corruption investigation. This probe resulted in charges against 7 active Toronto police officers. The Public Prosecution Service of Canada has confirmed its intention to meticulously examine each of these potentially affected cases. The objective is to determine whether pursuing prosecution remains in the public interest and if there is a realistic prospect of conviction based on the available evidence. Project South, which was publicly announced by York Regional Police in February, uncovered serious allegations including bribery, drug trafficking, and even a plot to murder a manager at an Ontario correctional facility. One of the officers, Const. Timothy Barnhart, faces 17 charges, the highest number among those arrested. Toronto Police Association President Clayton Campbell expressed concern that if these allegations lead to the withdrawal of charges against violent offenders, many hard-working Toronto Police Service members would be deeply disappointed. Furthermore, these corruption allegations have prompted an independent province-wide inspection of police anti-corruption practices, led by former Ontario Judge William Ouragan, covering all 45 police forces in the province. According to Radio-Canada International, a trans rights advocacy group in Montreal, the Montreal Trans Patient Union, TPU, reports that McGill University Student Health Clinic has denied hormone replacement therapy, HRT, to some U.S. students under the age of 19. The clinic's doctors cited concerns about potential repercussions from a Trump administration executive order issued in January 2025, which aims to restrict gender-affirming care for minors in the U.S. and carries consequences for healthcare professionals. TPU members, including Emma Gimber, expressed surprise and frustration, arguing that U.S. laws should not apply in Canada, while McGill confirmed that its doctors are guided by advice from the confidential Canadian Medical Protective Association, CMPA. It declined to clarify its specific policy. The Quebec College of Physicians, however, stated that denying care based on U.S. law would be a situation of concern, emphasizing that physicians in Quebec must adhere to their code of ethics, which prohibits refusing treatment based on sex or other discriminatory reasons. The Canadian Medical Association also affirmed that health decisions should be made by patients and providers, not politicians. The TPU fears many more U.S. students could be affected by this policy. A study by the University of Toronto, using anonymized cell phone data, reveals a significant 42% median drop in Canadian visits to U.S. metropolitan areas last year, according to CBS News. This figure is considerably steeper than official border crossing statistics suggest. Researchers attribute this decline largely to escalating political and trade tensions between the two countries, which began with President Trump's second term. The impact extends beyond tourist hotspots like Myrtle Beach and Yuma, affecting major economic hubs such as San Francisco and Houston, indicating a sharp reduction in both leisure and business-related travel. In response to this downturn and boycotts by some Canadians, U.S. tourism leaders, particularly in Florida, are actively engaging with their Canadian counterparts to boost travel. Las Vegas casinos and hotels have even introduced promotions offering at-par currency exchange rates to entice Canadian visitors. Canada's main stock index, the S&P/TSX Composite, experienced a significant drop of over 200 points during late-morning trading on May 12, 2026. The decline was largely attributed to substantial losses within the technology and base metal sectors. Simultaneously, U.S. stock markets also trended lower. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell by 269.7 points, closing at 49,434.77 U, while the S&P 500 index was down 65.5 in a world points at 7,347.34. The Nasdaq Composite recorded a steep decline of 403.31 points, finishing at 25,870.82. The Canadian dollar weakened against its U.S. counterpart, trading at 72.88 cents U.S., down from 73.17 cents U.S. on Monday. In commodities, the June crude oil contract saw a rise of US 3.7 wen dilserbo 101.85 per barrel, while the June gold contract decreased by 49 dizartal as stored ton dizartal store salt and brand 5,070 ton scalders. Dill's report is from the Canadian Press. Newswire.ca reports that the Greater Toronto Airports Authority, GTAA, has released its financial and operating results for the first quarter of 2026. Toronto Pearson, Canada's busiest airport, experienced a continued increase in overall passenger volumes, which grew by 4.2% to 11.1 million compared to the same period in 2025. Domestic passenger volume saw an 8.6% rise to 3.6 million, while international passenger volume increased by 2.1% to 7.5 million. The GTAA acknowledges ongoing pressures from the global economic and political landscape, as well as industry impacts from aircraft delivery delays affecting passenger traffic in 2026. Total revenues for the quarter reached $522.4 million, a 7.2% increase from Q1 2025, driven by higher rates, fees, and increased aviation activity. Earnings before interest and financing costs and amortization, EBITDA, rose by 10.3% to $239.3 million, with an EBITDA margin of 45.8%. However, net income decreased by 39.5% to $42 million, primarily due to an asset write-down. Free cash flow showed robust growth, increasing by 24.8% to $163.3 million. CEO Deborah Flint highlighted the airport's resilience and strategic groundwork, including the Pearson Lift program, to enable long-term growth and connectivity. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.